Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Namaste to all gadgeted officers, IAS, IPS, doctors, surgeons. Welcome back to our science and technology current affairs. In the previous part, we covered the first 10 updates from 15 to 22nd September 2025. Today in part 2, we will continue with the next set of important updates news number 11 to 20, which are highly relevant for UPSC, state PCS, BPSC, and different types of competitive exam like SSC, banking, defense, etc. My dear aspirants, remember consistency in learning is the key to success. So always maintain consistency. Every small step of knowledge brings you closer to your big goals. So let's dive into next current affairs. Next news is Muzaffarpur leads in student innovation. Muzaffarpur, which is a district from Bihar, submitted 7,403 innovative ideas, topping the national ranking in student innovation by Department of Science and Technology and the National Innovation Foundation, outpacing Bengaluru Urban and Bengal Court. So it is about Inspired Award. Muzaffarpur district submitted 7,403 innovative awards ideas. So it got Inspire Awards. So the district of Muzaffarpur in Bihar has emerged as a top contributor in Inspire Award standard scheme in 2025 with 7,403 student submission with innovative ideas. So it surpassed traditional education hubs nationwide, and this marks milestone in promoting creativity among young learners in the region. About Inspire Award is a government initiative by Department of Science and Technology. So it aims to nurture creativity in science and technology among students from classes 6 to 10, and participants submit original ideas that are innovative, novel, practical and socially useful. So ideas are and these ideas are evaluated state level, district level, state level, then national levels. Top innovation receive financial support and national recognition. So it and this Inspire Award mostly aim to identify and nurture creativity and innovative ideas of a student in science and technology. About Muzaffarpur's of Bihar district's record-breaking participation, Muzaffarpur led the nation with 7,403 ideas submitted by students from both government and private school. This figure outpaced Bengaluru Urban and Bengal Talk. So the district success reflect strong engagement from school and teachers. Process of participation, student write innovative ideas related to themes such as the themes are environmental protection, renewable energy, disability aids, water conservation, and rural technology. So each school nominates up to students. Nomination happened with the help of online portal, and the name of the online portal is EMIAS. Selected ideas receive 10,000 for model development. So these models progress through exhibition at district, state, and national levels, and the best 60 models are showcased at Rashtrapati Bhavan, where the president honors the student. So one-liner recap is given under the Inspire Manak 2025 scheme. Muzaffarpur, from Bihar district, topped in India. They got Inspire Award, and the student participation, the ideas they have participated is 7,403 submission. Prelims question is given, just know about the scheme, organizer, achievement, Muzaffarpur from Bihar, comparison, Bengaluru urban second rank, and Vaisali from Bihar district sixth rank. Mains question is given, can you pause the video and practice it. Now next news is Pacific Reach 2025 exercise. Pacific Reach 2025 exercise name is XPR XPR-25. It was a biennial multinational submarine rescue exercise held in Singapore, Singapore, and the South China Asia from September 15 to 25, 2025. It was hosted by Republic of Singapore Navy, RSN. It involved over 40 nations, including India, United States, Japan, Australia, and South Korea, to enhance cooperation and interoperability, exchange of data in submarine rescue operations. It is a Pacific Reach 2025 exercise name is XPR-25 for submarine rescue operation. So India's Navy's newest indigenously built diving support vessel, DSV is it is indigenously means built by India, homemade India diving support vessel name is INS Nistar. INS Nistar is actively participating in the multinational exercise Pacific Reach 2025. It was held in Singapore. The biennial exercise sees over 40 countries collaboration, and they collaborated on submarine rescue operation and maritime safety. About India's involvement marks its growing role in international naval cooperation and underwater emergency preparedness. About INS Nistar, it was commissioned on 18 July 2025, and it is a diving support vessel with more than 80% indigenous components, reflecting India's self-reliance in defense. This vessel, diving support vessel, operates under the Eastern Naval Command. It is equipped with side scan sonar for seabed mapping, observation class remotely operated vehicles, and advanced deep sea diving system. So INS Nistar is equipped with these equipments. It is role is to serve as the mothership for India's deep submergence rescue vehicles, DSRVS. Deep submergence rescue vehicles. India inducted two deep submergence rescue vehicles, DSRVs, between 2018 and between 2018 and 19, one for each coast. This vehicle can conduct rescue mission up to 650 meters underwater. So they are designed for rapid deployment, capable of being airlifted or mounted on vessel of opportunity. During Pacific Reach 2025, INS Nistar hosts the Submarine Rescue Unit East Unit, help in improving India's underwater rescue response capabilities. About exercise Pacific Reach 2025, it is a biennial multinational submarine rescue exercise hosted by Singapore. And it features participation from over 40 nations, including active contributors and observers. This exercise is completed in two phases. First is the harbor phase, and second one is the sea phase. So harbor phase and sea phase. Harbor phase activities held at Changi Naval Base. Where it happened? At Changi Naval Base. Harbor phase activities held at Changi Naval Base. The harbor phase lasts about a week. So it involves detailed discussion on submarine rescue system. So participate, engage in subject matter expert exchanges, medical symposium, and cross-desk system. Now, sea phase operation took place in South China Sea. It took place in its important point. The sea phase operation take place in South China Sea. It includes live rescue operation, and submarine intervention drills. So INS Nistar and Submarine Rescue Unit from East conduct multiple intervention and rescue tasks alongside other international naval assets. So there are significance of India's participation. India's role as a mothership for DSRVs in the Pacific Reach 2025 put stress on its commitment to maritime safety and international partnerships. So this exercise help India's enhance India's global best practices to adapt global best practices and strengthen ties with other navies. It also enhances India's rapid response capabilities for underwater emergencies in the Indo-Pacific region. So mains question is given, so kindly read all the points and practice this. Prelims question is given and kindly read all the points and practice. Harbor phase at Changi Naval Base and sea phase South China Sea. Mains questions point is you have to write introduction, significance, challenges, and way forward policy, and then conclusion. Pacific Reach 2025 is more than a naval drill. It is a naval drill, which is a statement of commitment to maritime safety, collective security, and India's growing reliance in defense. Self-dependence in defense for India and its for its partner. Such this type of exercises help in shaping the future of Indo-Pacific security and humanitarian readiness. Prelims question is given. Pacific Reach 2025 exercise recently in the news is related to submarine rescue and maritime safety operation. India participated in the Pacific Reach 2025 exercise with which newly commissioned indigenously built vessel, so INS Nistar. The Pacific Reach 2025 exercise was hosted by Singapore. Now, one-liner is Pacific Reach 2025 is a Singapore hosted 40-nation multinational submarine rescue and safety exercise in which India participated via its indigenously built INS Nistar to boost maritime safety, interoperability, and strategic reach. Next news is Scarlet Dragonfly rediscovered in Kerala. Scarlet dragonfly, also known as a scarlet darter. It is also known as scarlet darter or broad scarlet. It is typically found in climate. The climate is a warmer and lower altitude areas. It is found in warmer, lower altitude areas. So males displays a distinctive characteristic like a bright crimson red color, while females and juveniles show yellow to brown shade with paler stripes. So these species, scarlet dragonfly, prefers open water bodies like it resides in ponds and slow moving rivers for breeding and feeding. The name of the scarlet dragonfly's scientific name is a Crocothemis erythrea. Crocothemis erythrea. It plays a very important role as a bioindicator of healthy freshwater ecosystem. So it highlighting the ecological richness of Western Ghat. So its unexpected rediscovery in the high altitude valleys of Munnar, Kerala. So it is discovered in Munnar, Kerala. Kerala suggests that despite being a rare species typically found at lower elevation, it signifies a positive environmental condition. So, scarlet dragonfly rediscovered in Kerala. The scientific name is Corcothemis zidithri, which has been recently spotted in high altitude valleys of Munnar, Kerala. So, this unexpected sighting visibility in the cool southern Western Ghats has surprised experts and nature enthusiasts alike. This rediscovery marks the ecological richness of that region, and it also raises important question about species distribution and environmental changes. What are the significance of this finding or sighting? Finding this dragonfly at higher elevation where cooler temperature present, higher elevation where cooler temperature prevail is unusual. So it suggests possible shift in habitat preference or adaptation. The sighting brings attention to the Western Ghat as a biodiversity hotspot that still holds many secrets. Many different types of species are still in not in discovery. So it also promotes scientists to consider the impact of climate change and environmental factors on species distribution in the region. About the scientific documentation, initial photographs of scarlet dragonfly were taken during a faunal survey in the year 2018 and reported in 2021. So, however, doubts about the identification led to its removal from official records. Recent confirmation by odontologists have new reinstated the species present in the region, Munnar, Kerala. So this underlines the importance of continuous field research and accurate species monitoring about habitat and behaviors. Scarlet dragonflies are most active in warmer part of the day, or mostly active on the warmer part of the day. So, especially early morning and late afternoon. This favors a sunlit open blanks near wetlands and slow flowing water bodies rather than dense forest interiors about its habitat. So, their fast flight and bright colors make them to a delight for photographers and wildlife watchers also. There are some implications for conservation and tourism. The rediscovery encourages ecotourism in Munnar and of Kerala and surrounding areas. It also stresses there is a need for habitat protection and to support such rare species. So, Western Ghats remain a critical reason for studying different types of ecological dynamics and species resilience. MCQ based question: which is the scientific name of a scarlet dragonfly, Corcothemis erythrea? What was the scarlet dragonfly? Where was the scarlet dragonfly discovered in 2024? It is in Munnar of Kerala. Which family does the scarlet dragonfly belong to? The family name is Libelludi. 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 What is a notable feature of male scarlet and dragonflies? It has crimson red body, in which habitats are scarlet dragonflies typically found. It is slow moving river and ponds. One-liner recap: scarlet dragonfly Corcothemis erythrae is a species typically found in warmer lowlands. Was unexpectedly rediscovered in high altitude where warmer condition is not there. Was unexpectedly rediscovered in the high altitude valleys of Munnar, Kerala, highlighting potential shift in species distribution due to climate change. Suggested main question is level question is given, so kindly practice all the question. Now next news is a STAR supersonic target missile. STAR supersonic target missile is an India's made missile, indigenous developed reusable Indian target missile system, which was created by DRDO, Defense Research and Development Organization. It is designed to mimic modern cruise and anti-ship missile threats at supersonic speeds match 1.8 to 2.5. It provides realistic training for Indian Armed Force. So it is powered by two-stage system, including a liquid fuel ramjet. It can perform various realistic flight profiles such as high altitude dives and low altitude sea skimming runs. So this two-stage system enhance the interception skill of Navy and it help the interception skill of Navy and Air Force. So STAR supersonic target missile is a transforming military training and readiness. It is India's indigenous supersonic target missile STAR. So STAR developed to simulate modern cruise missile threats. STAR flies at a speed between Mach 1.8 and 2.5. So it replicates, it copy hostile missile attacks with realistic flight profiles, enabling the armed force to sharpen their reflexes and tactical responses. So it helps India's to make its self-reliance in defense technology. About the recent development, as of mid 2025, STAR has entered phase 3 of development. So it has followed all full prototypes and it is being tested with integrated propulsion, guidance and control system. STAR deployment will enhance joint exercises for Army, for Navy, and for Air Force, improving their preparedness against supersonic threats. So, STAR deployment will improve joint exercises for all the three forces, Army, Navy, Air Force, improving their preparedness against supersonic threats. About the technical features, STAR has two propulsion systems, a solid booster rockets, a rapid liftoff. This is followed by liquid fuel ramjet engines that sustain supersonic speeds. So it can perform sea skimming runs at just 12 feet above waves, ship dives from 10-kilometer altitudes, and wide ranges from 50 to 175 kilometers. So about flight duration, it ranges from 50 to 200 seconds, which offers diverse training scenarios. About the variants, there are two variants of a star which serve different military needs. The year launch version is carried by fighter jets like LCA Tejas. It is simulates year to ground missile threats, including anti-radiation and anti-avas roles. This variant supports joint force exercises such as Operation Sindoor. The ground launch version is truck mounted and mobile. Now, strategic importance, STAR reduces India's dependence on imported training system, and STAR is cost effective, reusable, and fully indigenous, fully made by India. So this aligns with Atmanirbhar Bharat initiatives, which help the India's to be self-reliant in defense technology. So it also enhances India long-term missile research and development, especially in ramjet propulsion. Ramjet propulsion is a key for future missile projects like Astra Mk3. What are the impact? STAR strengthened India's integrated tri-service combat readiness. So modular design allows us to simulate multiple threat profiles from low-level sea skimming to high-altitude device. So an analyst suggests a STAR could evolve into a tactical weapon targeting enemy radars and surveillance aircraft. One liner recap, India's indigenous STAR supersonic target missile is a high-speed supersonic target system built to simulate modern cruise anti-ship threats for realistic training and weapon testing. Flies at roughly mass 1.8 to 2.5, uses a booster plus liquid fuel ramjet architectures, and has entered advanced system integration trials phase 3. Objective question, stand for, we have discussed supersonic targets. Primary purpose of a star is to test interception and train weapon system. Next question is, reported top speed range for a star is approximately 1.8 Mach to 2.5. Which next question is, propulsion concept is associated with a star for sustained flight. So it is a solid booster plus ramjet after a booster, liquid fuel ramjet after a booster. STAR is intended to test which of the following system? It simulate cruise anti-ship threats to exercise SAMs, naval air defense and interceptors. Which operation domains is STAR being developed for? It is developed for multiple domains to broaden training value. The next question is, what advantage of a STAR over importing target system is? It is cost effective, indigenous, alternative to expensive imported target system, which is not a reported capability of a star. So star is not a strike or nuclear weapon. It is important point. It is a target stimulator. It is not. Star is not a strike or nuclear weapon. So short answer key is a star supersonic target simulator to simulate hostile supersonic missile for training and weapon testing. Speed is 1.8 to 2.5 Mach. It is a solid booster, liquid fuel, ramjet. So SAM's naval air defense and interceptor testing. Mains question is given. Just read all the question and try to practice. We have discussed all the points. Next news is portable ion chromatography aqua monitrix. Aqua monitrix is a portable automated ion chromatograph which is designed for on-site real-time analysis of nitrate and nitrite in water. Aquametrix is a portable automated ion chromatograph which is designed for on-site real-time analysis of nitrate and nitrite in water. It is developed to bring laboratory quality results to the field. It is significantly cheaper, cost effective, and smaller than the traditional lab equipment. So it mixes ultraviolet LED detection and common salt solution as an element, making it suitable for different types of application in environmental monitoring, agriculture, water safety, education. So it's allow it for on the spot data transmission and instant response to changes in water quality. So it is allowing for on the spot data transmission and instant responses to changes in water quality. So recent advancement in the field of chromatography, that ion chromatography, out of expensive laboratories and into the field. It is cheaper. Scientists at the University of Tasmania have developed a portable ion chromatograph, and name of that chromatograph is Aqua Monitrix. Name of the chromatograph is Aqua Monitrix. So this device help real-time analysis of soil pore water. Real-time analysis of soil pore water, making environmental monitoring and chemistry education more accessible and practical. About portable ion chromatography technology. So ion chromatography separates ion in a sample by passing it through a column. Traditional systems are very expensive and require complex equipments. Aqua Monitrix simplifies this by using a short column and low pressure pump. So it operates on a NaCl sodium chloride solution, which is environmental friendly. And this device uses ultraviolet light absorption detector to identify nitrate and nitrite ions, which absorb ultraviolet lights distinctly, allowing clear distinction without interference from other ions. About field application and procedures, student collect soil pore waters using a portable vacuum pump. The water is filtered on site and injected directly into the device Aqua Monitrix. The device quickly produces chromatograms showing peaks for nitrate and nitrite concentration. So these immediate analyses help monitor environmental pollutants as these ions are harmful in excess. So it's helping to know about to monitor about environmental pollutants. Samples are later analyzed in the laboratory using conventional ion chromatography to verify accuracy of this device. Comparison with conventional laboratory chromatography. Conventional laboratory chromatography uses longer columns, high pressure pumps, detects multiple ions, resulting in complex data. It is expensive and not portable, and it is a battery. About Aqua Monitrix, it is cost effective, cost about 1/10 of a lab instrument, and is battery operated. So field result closely match lab data, confirming its reliability. About educational and environmental benefits, the portable device enhances chemistry teaching in linking theory with practical fieldwork. Student gains hand-on experience in real-world setting, encouraging deeper understanding and interest. So it also supports environmental monitoring such as tracking nitrogen compound in soil and water. So research team is developing similar portable instrument to measure ammonia and arsenic, targeting broader environmental challenges. So future prospect is portable ion chromatography can transform environmental science, agriculture, water treatment monitoring. So it is a very important point. It can help to monitor and water treatment. Its simplicity and low cost make it suitable for remote areas and developed countries. One liner recap is Aqua Monitrix is a field portable ion chromatography analyzer that enables real-time accurate detection of nitrate and nitrite, NO3, NO2, and it extended version ammonium in soil pore water, fresh saline wastewater using simpler Alune system and UV LED optical detection, bringing lab precision to environmental field monitoring. So this is about the table is given what it measure Na3NO2 extended version of ammonium NH4 NH4 plus with modification LOD LOQ accuracy. So very good for LOD for nitrates and nitrite in soil poor water near lab IC performance correlation greater than 0.99. Field use is soil poor water sampling using portable pumps, battery or DC powered drugs, rapid turnaround. Application it is used to monitor environment, agriculture, water treatment use in water treatment, aquaculture, and also beneficial for educational use. Limitation is there is a not fully replacing lab IC for all ions. It is not fully replacing a lab IC for all ions. Sample preparation still needed, so certain ranges it may be cost. Now, pre-MCQ question is given, but primarily analysis does Aquamatrix detects in its standard version nitrate Na3NO2. Which of the following modification allow the detection of ammonium in Aquamonitrix? Now, post column 3D printed heated micro reactors. So it help in allow the detection of ammonium in Aquamonitrix. Post column 3D printed heated micro reactor. Next question is what is the lower detection limit for nitrite using Aquamonitrix in soil sample as per REACH? So actually is approximately 5 to 10 microgram per gram. Which advantage is not generally attributed to portable ion chromatography versus lab IC? So, because detecting all the heavy metals, etc., is not what is primarily designed or tested for. So, all the points I have discussed already. So, kindly pause the video and read all the points. Now, which power source option are supported in Aquamonitrix for field deployment? So, battery backup and DC input with solar battery version in some setups. Now, what is the sampling frequency measurement? Sampling frequency measurement for Aquamonitrix as per manufacturer's specification every 10 minutes. Mains question given. So just pause the video, practice or read all and all the points we have discussed, kindly practice. Now, Global Innovation Index 2025. Now, next news is Global Innovation Index 2025. So, look at that. First is Switzerland, second Sweden, third USA, fourth Republic of Korea, fifth Singapore, sixth United Kingdom, seventh Finland, eighth Netherlands, ninth Denmark, tenth China. So it is published by World Intellectual Property Organization. Intellectual Property Organization published Global Innovation Index. The Global Innovation Index innovation performance through indicators. The indicators are policy, environment, education, and infrastructures. Indicators for this are policy, environment, education, and infrastructure for Global Innovation Index 2025. So this year's reports highlight shift in innovation with rapid advancement in artificial intelligence. All of you are knowing there is a rapid advancement in artificial intelligence and quantum computing occurring alongside slower growth in innovation, finance, and R&D research and development investment. Top innovative economies are Switzerland. Top innovative economics are Switzerland, Sweden, United States of America, Republic of Korea, fifth position Singapore. India has climbed to the 38th position. India climbed to the 38th position globally, which is a significant improvement from its 2020. So in 2020, India ranked 48th position. Now in 2025, India rank is 38th position. So India leads in the Central and Southern Asia region among lower middle income economies. So India climbed one place to 38 rank out of how many countries? 139 countries. World Intellectual Property Organization Global Innovation Index 2025 ranking. Last year, India rank was 39. This year, it was 2025 rank was 38. So Global Innovation Index 2025 reveals a dynamic shift in global innovation patterns. So while there is a many advancement in the field of artificial intelligence and quantum computing, accelerate overall research and development growth has slowed sharply. Research and development growth has slowed sharply. Instead, there is an advancement in the field of artificial intelligence and quantum computing. So, India's innovation ranking has improved, reflecting its evolving research and technology landscape. About the global innovation trend in 2025, global research and development growth declined. It's a very important point. Global research and development growth declined to 2.9% in 2024, and it's expected to drop further to 2.3% in 2025. So this slowdown marks the lowest rate in research and development since the 2010 financial crisis. Despite this, innovation hubs in Europe, North America, and Asia continue to lead. Europe dominates 15 countries in the top 25, including 6 in the top 10. Switzerland holds the top position, followed by Sweden and the United States. Emerging economies in the Southeast Asia, East Asia, and Oceanic also gain importance prominence. Top innovative countries globally are Switzerland, Sweden, United States of America, South Korea, Singapore, UK, Finland, Netherlands, Denmark, and China. So China ranks 10th and excel in patent filings and research and development expenditure. So China surpassing Switzerland in knowledge and technology outputs. These countries lead through strong innovation ecosystem and investment in technology. About India's performance and growth, so India is ranked 38th in the Global Innovation Index 2025, a rise from 48 in 2020. India is a top innovator among lower middle income economies and in the Central and Southern Asia region. India scored well in knowledge and technology outputs, 22nd, and market sophistication 38th position. However, it lacks in business sophistication. It is lagging in business sophistication, 64th, infrastructure 61, 61st, and 61, and institution 58th. So this mix reflects India's growing research capacity, but marks area there is an area to improve. Improvement is required for India. About the Global Innovation Index, the Global Innovation Index, which is published by World Intellectual Property Organization, ranks 139 economies using over how many indicators? 80 indicators. Countries are 139. So these indicators fall under there are 7 pillars. Pillars are institution, human capital and research, infrastructure, market sophistication, business sophistication, knowledge and technology outputs, and creative output. So this index measure both innovation in input and output, offering a comprehensive view of how countries convert research and development into economic growth. So regional innovation, Europe remains the most innovative region, led by Switzerland and Sweden. North America holds strong position with United States of America and Canada in the top 20. Asia's rise is marked by South Korea, Singapore, China, and India making improvement. Southeast Asia, East Asia, Oceania are emerging as important innovation hubs, reflecting shifting global innovation dynamics. Next news is Gujarat launches major education support schemes. So Gujarat recent education support scheme includes Namo Lakshmi Yojana for girls education. Recently, education support scheme is launched in state Gujarat, and the name of that scheme is Namo Lakshmi Yojana for girls education and the Mission School of Excellence 2.0. Mission School of Excellence 2.0 to upgrade school infrastructure. Namo Lakshmi Yojana for girls education and Mission School Excellence 2.0. This scheme is to upgrade school infrastructure. So other initiative is also going on. The name of the initiatives are Vahil Dikri Yojana, Education Study Scheme, which provides financial help and loans for girl students and support these girls for higher education. The state also launched Mari Yojana portal. The name of the portal is a Mari Yojana to increase transparency and access to its welfare programs. Gujarat launches major education and support scheme. So it has enabled Gujarat to intensify on education, focus on education with two major scheme launched in March 2024. So this initiative aim to provide financial help to student, especially girls student and science stream learners. It provides of help to girls student and especially from the science stream students, science stream learners. The scheme aligned with the vision of Develop India by 2020, 2047. Since their inception, they have benefited over 12 lakh students with a disbursement exceeding rupees 1016 crore. About Namo Lakshmi Yojana, it targets girls studying in classes 9 to 12. So it ensures no girl discontinue education due to any financial challenges. The scheme covers schools under Gujarat Secondary and Higher Secondary Education Board and CBSE. Girls already receiving other scholarship remain eligible. Each beneficiary receive rupees 50,000 over 4 years. More than 10.49 lakh girls have benefited with total disbursement crossing rupees 1000 crore. So a dedicated Namo Lakshmi Yojana portal manages the scheme for transparency and efficiency. So this scheme encourages girl students to pursue science in class 11th and 12. Eligibility requirement, at least the student get 50% marks in class 10. It is open to students in government, grant in aid and self-finance recognized schools. Financial help given rupees 25,000 rupees 25,000 over 2 years for eligible science stream students. Over 1.5 lakh students have benefited with disbursement exceeding rupees 161 crore. So this scheme is managed through the Namo Saraswati portal. This scheme is managed through the name of the project is the Namo Saraswati Vigyan Sadhana Yojana. First one is the Namo Lakshmi Yojana. Namo Lakshmi Yojana. Second one is the Namo Saraswati Vigyan Sadhana Yojana for classes 11th and 12th. So it is managed through the Namo Saraswati portal to ensure smooth implementation. So it is alignment. It reflects the Gujarat government's commitment to Prime Minister vision to Viksit Bharat by 2047. So it aimed to prepare a student for future ready education in Amrit Kal period. So this focus on education is a girl student and supporting girl student and science learners. The scheme addresses gender equity and skill development. So implementation and impact, the scheme have increased enrollment and retention rate among girls and science students. It also motivates students to pursue higher education and career in science and technology field. So these efforts contribute to building a skilled and inclusive workforce for the future. So the Global Innovation Index 2025 themed innovation at a cross. What is the theme of Global Innovation Index 2025? Theme is innovation at a crossroads, which ranks 139 economies on 78 indicators. It reports a slowdown in global research and development growth. Sees China entered the top 10 and places India at 38 globally. Indicated is 78 to 80. So what is the theme of the Global Innovation Index 2025? Innovation at a crossroads. How many economies does Global Innovation Index 2025 rank? Approximately 138, 139 economies. Which country is ranked at first in Switzerland? Which middle economy entered at the top 10 in global economy index for the first time? That is a China. Which two broad components structure the global innovation index frameworks? Innovation inputs and innovation outputs. What was the approximate research and development growth rate in 2024 as per GII 2025? 2.9%. Key highlights fact to know. So, how many ranks innovation performance under 139 economies? China enters top 10 in 2025. Top performance is Switzerland, Sweden, and United States. Global R&D growth has slowed approximately 2.9. India's rank and performance. India is 38 among lower middle income economies. It leads. Mains question is given. So, just practice all the question. We have discussed all the points. Next news is hand, foot, mouth disease spread among children. Hand, foot, and mouth disease spread among children. So, hand, foot, and mouth disease HFMD is rapidly spreading among children. Where? In Delhi and neighboring Haryana in 2025. Health authorities and school have issued advisories to take care of this type of infection because it is spreading rapidly. The disease mainly affects children under 10 years of age and has no specific treatment. So preventive care and home management remain the key responses. We should prevent and take care. What is hand, foot, and mouth diseases? Hand, foot, and mouth disease is a contagious, infectious viral illness caused by virus. It primarily affects children, but can infect any age group, but mostly affect children. The main virus responsible is the name of virus is Coxsackie virus, Coxsackie virus A16. So the disease spread easily through ear and close contact. Symptoms appear 3 to 6 days after infection. What are the symptoms and sign? High fever, sore throat, rashes develop in the mouth, hand and feet as a foot and mouth disease. So blister develop in mouth, hand and feet. The rash may also appear on the buttocks. Mouth sores causes difficulty in eating and drinking. The rash is usually non-itchy and may vary in color based on skin complexion. So transmission, it is transmitted through respiratory droplets, direct contact with blister and contaminated surfaces because it is a viral infection. The monsoon season accelerates its spread due to increased humidity and close indoor interaction. What are the prevention and control measures? Frequent hand washing. Infected children should be isolated. Schools are advised to monitor symptoms and restrict attendance of affected children. Parents should avoid sending sick children to school. What are the treatment and home care? No specific antiviral treatment exists for this disease. The illness usually resolves within 7 to 10 days on its own. So, symptomatic treatment includes fever, reducer, and pain relief medicine. Homemade food and good hygiene help in recovery. Public health response, the direct DOEO in Delhi has issued guideline for school and parents. Awareness campaigns emphasize early detectors and detection and isolation. So, hand, foot, and mouth disease is a highly contagious, infectious disease, viral infection caused by Coxsackie virus A16 and Enterovirus 71. These two viruses, Coxsackie virus A16 and Enterovirus 71, is spreading rapidly among children below 5 years and 10 years through close contact, respiratory droplets, contaminated surface through usually mild outbreaks raise public health concern due to its speed of transmission in Delhi and neighboring Haryana. HFMD is primarily caused by which group of viruses? Coxsackie virus, A16, enterovirus 71. Which group is most vulnerable to these outbreaks? Under 5 years or 10 years. What are the characteristic clinical feature of this disease? Rashes on palms, soles, or oral ulcer. HFMD is most commonly transmitted through contaminated food, water, droplets, and contact. In several cases, HFMD caused by enterovirus 71 can lead to brain complication, neurological complication. Mains question is given. Just pause the video. All the question you have to practice. We have discussed all the points. Next news is Swastik Nari Sakti Parivar Abhiyan. Nari Sakti as its Abhiyan is reflecting everything. Swasth Nari Sakti Parivar Abhiyan. It was launched on September 2025 by Prime Minister. So it marks the largest health outreach program for women and children in India. Swasth Nari Shakti Parivar Abhiyan. So it aims to improve healthcare access, quality, awareness for women and children nationwide. So over 10 lakh health camps will be held across government and private health facilities from 17 September to 2nd October 2025. Aim of this Swasth Nari Shakti Parivar Abhiyan is to focuses on strengthening preventive, promotive, and curative health services for women and children. It targets early screening and treatment for diseases such as cancer, anemia, tuberculosis, sickle cell disease, hypertension, high blood pressure, diabetes. So this campaign also promote maternal, child, adolescent health through immunization, nutrition, menstrual hygiene, and mental health awareness. It also encourages healthy lifestyle, including obesity prevention and voluntary blood donation. About implementation and reach, it will organized at Ayushman Arogya Mandis, community health centers, district hospital, and other government facilities. So, private hospital and medical colleges will support specialist services in gynecology, pediatrics, dermatology, psychiatry, and more. Central government institution will complement these efforts like AIMS, ESIC, and CGSH. So this campaign leverage grassroots workers such as the ASA and Anganwadi workers and youth volunteers for community mobilization. Significance of this campaign is to focus on tribal women. It is mostly focused on tribal women affected by sickle cell anemia with free testing and treatment available. This initiative aims with broader goals to reduce maternal mortality rate, death rate, and infant mortality rate, infant death rate. It is integrated with existing scheme like Pradhan Mantri Mrityu Vandana Yojana, which has benefited over 4.5 crore pregnant women since 2017. This Abhiyan also support National Sickle Cell Anemia Mission, which has screened over 5 crore people and saved many tribal lives. Ayushman Bharat cards also provide financial protection for further treatment beyond the camps. About community participation, the campaign is a Jan Bhagidari initiative involving central and state governments, private sector hospital, NGOs, and community groups. So, this inclusive approach aims to ensure sustainability and wide coverage in public health. Swasth Nari Shakti Parivar Abhiyan primarily focus on maternal and child health, which are the following ministries implemented in Swasth Nari Shakti Parivar Abhiyan, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Main subject questions are given. So kindly pause the video and practice. One liner recap, Swasth Nari Shakti Parivar Abhiyan, which is a health initiative focusing on women's wellness, maternal health, nutrition to ensure empowered families and stronger communities. Next news is a Birho tribe electrification. This is a news from Jharkhand. Birhor community in Fulvaria Hamlet, Kodarma district of Jharkhand, recently gained electricity after 80 years with a 63 kilowatt ampere transformer installed under government schemes. 4 decades about Birho tribe community, the Fulharia hamlet, home to about 550 their residing 550 Birhor residents lived without electricity. So this project faced challenges due to hamlet location in a protected forest, requiring forest department permission, and strict protocol rules is to protect wildlife also. So Bidho tribe electrification, nearly 550 residents of Fulvaria hamlet in Jharkhand's Koderma district, mainly from the Birho tribe, received electricity after how many years? 80 years of darkness. The installation of 63 kilovolt ampere transformer marks this milestone under the Ujjwala Yojana scheme. So it symbolizes a new era of opportunities in education, health, and livelihoods. It also faces challenges by forest law protecting the reserve forest through which the access road passes. Strict conditions were imposed to safeguard forest wildlife. About the Birho tribe is a semi-nomadic tribe community primarily reside in Jharkhand with smaller population also reside in Chhattisgarh, Odisha and West Bengal. They are one of the Jharkhand's have eight particularly vulnerable tribal groups. So one of the Jharkhand's particularly vulnerable tribal groups. So the name Birhor means people of the jungle. So they belong to Porto, Australia racial stock and practice a blend of animism and Hinduism. About the language and ethno-linguistic identity, so Birhor speak their own language. Birhor part of Munda subgroup with the Austroasiatic family. So it shares similarities with Santali, Mudrari and Hu languages. About the physical and ethnological characteristics, Birhors are generally short in height with broader noses and wavy ears. Now, social structure and community lives. Birhor society is a clean-based, kinship-oriented. Communities are small and close-knit, living in tandas, temporary huts. They are living in temporary huts made from leaves and branches. Now, about the economic practices and livelihoods, traditionally Birhor's role depend on nomadic gathering, hunting, rope making from vine fibers for livelihoods and trade. They hunt monkeys and collect forest products. Some have transitioned to settled agricultures. They possesses rich knowledge of medicinal plants which are used in traditional healings. Rich knowledge of medicinal plants. There are many challenges to provide electrification in Fulvaria because it faced delay due to forest protection laws. Clearance required strict adherence to avoid disturbing wildlife, such as banning high beam lights and loudspeakers. The arrival of electricity is expected to improve education, healthcare, economic opportunities for Birhor people, making step in integrating vulnerable tribal groups into mainstream development. Next news is International Reference Classification of Occupation. The International Reference of Classification of Occupation refers to the International Standard Classification of Occupation, IS ISCO, which is a system developed by International Labour Organization. International Labour Organization to classify jobs into hierarchical structures based on the task and duties they involve, help in facilitating international comparison of occupational data. So, the latest version of ISCO, International Standard Classification of Occupation 08, adopted in 2008, which provides standardized framework used by countries to develop national classification and promotes skill-based labor migration. So the Government of India International Labour Organization signed a memorandum of understanding to develop international reference classification of occupation. So these agreements aims to enhance global employment opportunities for youth. It addresses skill shortage, which is caused by demographic changes and digital transformation worldwide. it is this memorandum of understanding aligned with G20 commitment to create well-managed skill-based migration pathways. The significance, it promotes comparability of occupational data across countries. It also helps mutual recognition of skill and qualification. It also support youth in assessing job globally. It also help in managing international labor mobility more effectively. About digital public goods and labor market efficiency, India showcased two digital platforms at International Labour Conference. The platform are the National Carrier Service (NCS) portal and eShram portal. Two portal, National Carrier Service portal, and second one is the eShram portal. So these tools support job seekers and workers by providing accessible employment information and social security data. So it is a standardized system for classifying all jobs in the world developed by ILO aims to help statisticians make internationally comparable occupational data available. How it works, it is hierarchical four-level classification based on skill level and specialization of job. It consists of 436 unit groups. Key features: ISCO 08, the current and latest version adopted in 2008, replacing previous version. It is used by many countries to develop or revise their own national occupational classification. So, these frameworks support the goal of G20 nation and specifically India to promote regular skill-based migration pathway by facilitating the integration of workers into global market. Future collaboration, the memorandum of unit set the stage for feasibility study and pilot projects in green, digital, and care sectors. So it provides support future job growth and sustainability. It also includes broader workforce development and initiative. India supports India's vision to become a global skill hub and trusted talent providers. There are global impact also. It addresses global skill shortage and demographic deficits. This strengthens international cooperation on getting job, on employment and skill development. So international standard classification of occupation is key features of ISCO 08 is it is a task-based structures, hierarchical organization. ISCO 08 use a four-level structure to group jobs from broad categories to specific unit groups. It has international global standard used by countries, and its main purpose is to provide information about jobs to support policy making, research, and international comparison. Where to find it? The official International Labour Organization website is the primary source for ISCO 08 information and its detailed structures. About G20 countries, mnemonics high to remember this. A big clever cat found ideas in jungle, making really smaller step to understand Europe. A for Argentina, B for Brazil, C for Canada or China. Canada was clever, Canada, then cat, China, F for France, G for Germany, I for India or Indonesia, Italy, I first India, then in I, Indonesia, then Italy. J for jungle, M for Mexico, R for Russia, S smart, Saudi Arabia, South Africa, America. Smart step. To understand, T for Turkey, U for UK, USA, E for EU. So it is a mnemonic. The next mnemonic is also given. So kindly pause and practice. So G20 or group of 20, which is an important topic for many exams. So it is a intergovernment forum made up of how many countries? 19 countries and EU. European Union, it is focuses on major global economic issues such as international financial stability, climate change mitigation, and sustainable development. So G20 membership is made up of mix of industrialized and emerging economies representing over two-thirds of worldwide population, 85% of global GDP, 80% of global investment, and 75% of global commerce. So this international forum engages finance minister and central bank governors from the major economies. G20 is not a permanent, it is not a permanent body. It is accompanied by leadership that is transferred annually among the members. So G20 Troika depicts the current, previous, and upcoming presidency of G20, wherein the three members countries would work in close association to give effect to the agenda. G20 Troika consists of Indonesia, Italy, India. Indonesia, Italy, India. In 2022. Origin of G20. The G20 was foreshadowed at the Cologne summit of G7 in June 1999. And formally established at G7 Finance Minister meeting on 26 September 1999 with inaugural meeting on 15 to 16 December 1999 in Berlin. So when the Asian financial crisis of 1997-98 ended, it was acknowledged that the participant of major emerging market countries was necessary for discussion on the international financial system. So G7 finance minister agreed to establish G20 finance minister and central bank governance meeting in the year 1999. The meeting of G20 finance minister and central bank governance were centered on major economic and monetary policies among major countries in the global financial system. So it aimed to promote cooperation towards achieving a stable and sustainable global economic growth for the benefits of all countries. So in September 2009, the third summit was held in Pittsburgh, where the leader designated at the G20 as the premier forum for international economic cooperation. The summit meetings were henceforth held semi-annually until 2010 and annually from 2011 onwards. Next news is 2025 World Trade Report. World Trade Report. The World Trade Report published by World Trade Organization, just published by World Trade Organization. Title is making trade and artificial intelligence work together to the benefit of all. So integration of trade with artificial intelligence, which will benefit all. The report analyzes impact of artificial intelligence on global trade and explore how trade and technology policies can ensure the benefit of artificial intelligence are widely shared and promote inclusive growth globally. So the 2025 World Trade Report by World Trade Organization outlines how artificial intelligence could transform global trade and economic growth by 2040. So it predicts nearly 40% rise in cross-border trade value driven by productivity gains and reduced trade cost. The report stresses the importance of policy that bridge digital divides and promotes growth. It promotes inclusive growth. Artificial intelligence potential to boost trade and global development. So AI can increase global trade by 34 to 37% globally and boost global GDP by 12 to 13% by 2040. So these outcomes depend on how well different countries adapt artificial intelligence and improve digital infrastructures. Low and middle income countries stand to gain if they narrow the digital gap, if they do not use the digital technology, if they narrow the digital gap with wealthier nations and embrace artificial technologies for the development. It is required to embrace to adapt artificial intelligence technology because AI can increase global trade by 34 to 37% and boost global GDP by 12 to 13% by 2040. About inclusive growth with the help of artificial intelligence and trades, it enables goods such as raw materials, semiconductors, intermediate input. In 2023, such trade was worth USD 2.3 trillion. Access to these goods supports artificial intelligence adoption and economic growth. If developing economies reduce their digital infrastructure gap by half and adapt artificial intelligence widely, incomes could increase by 14 to 15%. There are challenges in adapting, in accessing artificial intelligence with trades. Access to artificial intelligence technology remain uneven globally. So tariffs on artificial intelligence related goods can be as high as 45% in some low income countries. Quantitative restriction on artificial intelligence goods have increased sharply from 130 in 2012 to nearly 500 in 2024. So these barriers hinder equitable artificial intelligence adoption and trade expansion. What are the role of education and workforce skill in this? It investment in education and workforce training is important to prevent widening inequality within countries. Labor market policies must adapt to support workers affected by artificial intelligence driven changes. WTO role in facilitating inclusive AI trades. WTO provide a platform for members to discuss artificial intelligence related trade issues. Since 2012, 80 trade concerns related to artificial intelligence have been raised. The organization promotes commitment under agreements like the Information Technology Agreements, the General Agreement on Trade in Service to make artificial intelligence more accessible and affordable worldwide. There is a need for open and predictable trade environment. The report calls for removing barriers that restrict artificial intelligence goods and services to ensure that benefit reach all economies globally. So themes, finding and detailed implication is given. AI as a trade multiplier in magnitude of impact, unequal access and digital divide, state policy and regulation roles, trade outlook for 2025, risk and uncertainties, and role of international cooperation and WTO. Magnitude of impact is under favorable scenarios. Trade could rise approximately 30 to 37%, GDP 12 to 13% by approximately by 2040. About the trade policy is also given, and the unequal access and digital divide is also there. MCQ based question: what is the theme of World Trade Report 2025? The theme is making trade and artificial intelligence work together to the benefit of all. According to the report, under favorable condition, how much could global trade increase by 2040 due to artificial intelligence? Approximately 34 to 37%. Which factor is highlighted as a barrier for many countries to harness artificial intelligence benefits in trades? Factor is digital divide and limited infrastructures. These are a barrier for many countries. What is the WTO forecast for merchandise trade in 2025? According to the report, slight contraction of around 0.2%. Which of the following is recommended role for WTO or multilateral cooperation in the artificial intelligence trade nexus? Provide capacity building, transparency, rules, and dialogue. Mains question are given. Can you pause the video? Practice all the question. One-liner recap, the World Trade Report 2025 title, Making Trade and AI Work Together to the Benefit of Artificial Intelligence, argue that artificial intelligence could could improve global trade by 34 to 37% and global GDP by 12 to 30% by 12 to 13% by 2040, but warns that digital divides and uneven access risk exacerbating inequality. Next news is National Policy on Geothermal Energy 2025, which we will learn in the next video. Kindly practice all the updates. Based on that, I have provided PYQ, MCQ and mains question, one and a recap also for to boost your memories. Practice all. Thank you for watching. Watch next series.